Hey everyone, and welcome back to Scandalous Media. It's Alana here, and after 6 years together, Taylor Swift and Joe Alwyn have finally called it quits. This comes after a handful of headlines that wrote, Joe is too busy with work to visit Taylor on her Eras tour, but will do so shortly, and that they are great together. So safe to say, this breakup news shocked all of us, especially after getting headlines from both camps that they apparently got married in a small ceremony just under a year ago. Not only was this shocking, but we now have reports that Taylor and Matty Healy from the 1975 are dating. This isn't the only out-of-place piece in their relationship timeline. It seems that after 6 seemingly blissful years together, they called it off due to personality differences. I would think that after spending 6 years together, living together during the pandemic, and Joe being a part of Taylor's music-making process, they would know each other's personalities a little bit more than anything else. I thought it was bizarre that this was the main reason they broke up, or the main reason we were told they broke up. It's odd to think that after spending so much time together and being told that Joe understands Taylor on a level so deep, he was able to write songs with her on Folklore, Evermore, and Midnights, that personality differences were the reason they broke up. Taylor's reps claim she has nothing bad to say about Joe and vice versa. So was the issue of personality differences they faced as shallow as he liked coffee, I liked tea? Or is there more to the story dealing with this very stale fairy tale? In all honesty, Taylor and Joe's relationship has always made me draw a blank face. The relationship being so far from the public eye has sometimes made me think, does Joe actually exist, or is he a robot Taylor created? I have a hard time seeing them with the same passion other fans have towards them, and their statement of personality differences being the main reason they broke up after 6 years just seems like a nice way of saying, the clock struck 12 and his time was up. It has the same stale compassion as going to school with someone for years and then on graduation day, just nodding goodbye to them. Taylor's reps go on to say, Taylor didn't see them working out in the long run. Sure, let's just believe all of that and try to forget about how their teams were low-key pushing engagement headlines just last year. News of Taylor wears her ring in secret with close friends suddenly isn't being accounted for in this breakup. Her team stayed silent during those rumors, but for these breakup rumors, it seems as if we have all the inside details, with Joe also saying that Taylor's stardom was something he struggled with. Was she not famous when you met her, Joe? Whether or not you want to argue that Taylor's fame tripled since the pandemic or not, it's still a weird claim to make because when Taylor and Joe got together, it was at the height of her career. She was one of the most talked about stars, considering she had the biggest feud with Kanye West and the Kardashians around this time. So even if Taylor got more famous, it's not like he grabbed her while she was singing at the mall and then she became a star. It was at a point where she was reaching a huge peak, especially following up with the 1989 successful era. Taylor has not commented on the breakup, but she has switched out songs like Invisible String, where she talks about her soulmate, to The One, a breakup song where she sings about wishing things could have worked out with an ex. Although she is singing love songs perfectly fine and doesn't seem to be upset on stage at all. As we all know and love, Taylor is a very expressionate performer, and she likes to draw out the full picture for the crowd. So once the breakup news hit, she suddenly is holding back emotions for the sake of her fans? She showed more emotion when her 3-month-old relationship with Joe Jonas ended. Following the news right after the breakup, Taylor was seen in New York City getting dinner. Now, whether you're a fan of Taylor or not, one thing you have to understand is that she won't allow herself to be caught off guard. So these New York City pictures that come out right after the breakup is something Taylor set to happen. As everyone knows, if she doesn't want to be seen, she won't be seen. Taylor will hide in a box and be carried out. So everything about this paparazzi photo shoot just screams developing plotline in the world of Taylor Swift. She's setting it up for the story, for the plot essentially, for her next album, who even knows? 2 days after the breakup news, she meets with some friends at an Italian restaurant, which sits just 4 minutes away from Cornelia Street, which is a notable title from her 2019 Lover album. She's dressed in a casual yet blingy outfit, proving she'll always be bejeweled, with a classic red lip. Now, Taylor's fans go crazy for the details and significance of it all. So while some of you may be thinking it's just dinner with friends after a breakup, why all these symbolic album title details? Just know that for Taylor and her fans, these Easter eggs, the details, they're the reason why they get up in the morning. Also, someone pointed out to me that the way she's holding her handbag just proves she called the paparazzi, because nobody holds their bag like this unless they're photo ready. And of course we have the classic Taylor paparazzi posing side look. About a week after the breakup, Taylor brought back the old cast some of you guys either loved or hated, and that's the cast of her girl squad. Taylor was out seen with friends Gigi Hadid, Blake Lively, and the three sisters from Haim. Notice how bestie Selena Gomez is nowhere to be found? Stay tuned on our video about that friendship. So another thing we can check off is Taylor bringing out her girl squad in support of the breakup. For those who don't know, Taylor notoriously created a group of Hollywood besties back in 2015 when she felt like she needed more allies. It created a lot of division and headlines because it was almost like Taylor needed to give each person their own special time to make up for the fact that there was no real relationship there. And it was sort of seen as a group of Hollywood mean girls telling the others, "You can't sit with us." With that being said, the girl group was deemed as iconic and made a lot of good press, seeing that each girl had something different to say about Taylor that painted her in a positive light. So what better than to bring some nostalgia to tug back on this idea of Taylor needs her girls to help her move past this. After this hangout, Taylor hangs out with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. The hangout with Blake and Ryan resulted in Ryan unfollowing Joe on Instagram. Ryan, Taylor's brother Austin, and the Haim sisters all recently unfollowed Joe on Instagram. This makes me think their breakup isn't as amicable as Taylor and her reps are pretending it is. There was some drama when Emma Lard, Joe's co-star in The Brutalist, shared a photo of Joe in a March photo dump. Seeing as they work together, their hanging out isn't as shocking, but fans believe that maybe cheating was the reason for Joe and Taylor's breakup. Or maybe it was just wrong photo, bad timing. So far, nothing has been confirmed or elaborated from Taylor and Joe, but Taylor's fans did what they do best and sent Emma a massive amount of hate consisting of misogynistic comments. She then had to turn off her Instagram comments. As time moves on, there will probably be more coming out of this breakup. As of recently, we have Taylor deleting a reel that talks about her song Lavender Haze and about how it's her relationship with Joe and being so blissfully in love and destroying weird rumors. We'll just have to wait and see how this story unfolds and if it even will. Some of Taylor's fans have now started to question the relationship, with one person on Twitter compiling a bunch of lyrics supposedly about Joe that don't make much sense if you were to follow up with Joe and Taylor's relationship timeline. The thread says, "Holes in the Taylor and Joe timeline/narrative." And it starts off with Taylor's song Endgame apparently being about Joe not listening to the rumors about Taylor and how he's not like other guys, and she describes him in a way that doesn't actually make sense. She sings, big reputation, oh you and me, we got big reputations." This led fans to question what supposedly big reputation Joe had in 2016. He was a completely unknown actor who had been in 0 films. Which makes me think Taylor literally built herself a boyfriend, cause who is Joe Alwyn anyway? The thread mentions notable things like Taylor constantly referencing New York City as a metaphor to describe her muse, singing things like, "The city screams your name, I'm New York City, you're the West Village." And Joe is literally from London. And when asked to choose New York or London, he literally picks London. He doesn't own an apartment in the West Village. So who is she singing about if Joe is her Lavender Haze? One example from the thread, and probably one of my favorites, is that Taylor sings about her muse's ex-girlfriends. She sings, "Wonder how many girls he had loved and left haunted. I don't wanna be just another ex-love you don't wanna see. I'm so thankful for all the girls you loved before." All that, just for Taylor to be Joe's first ever girlfriend. So who were the girls you were thankful for if you are at this moment his literal first and last girlfriend? There's a lot more to this thread, so let me know if you want me to compile a list of weird occurrences in Taylor and Joe's relationship over the past 6 years. For example, in Taylor's 2019 album Lover, All About Love, she basically sings about wanting to get married. In Paper Rings, she says, "I like shiny things, but I'd marry you with paper rings." Then in Lover, she says, "I take this magnetic force of a man to be my lover." In I Think He Knows, she sings, "I think he knows he'd better lock it down." All of the sudden in Midnights, Taylor says that Lavender Haze is about addressing weird rumors that people have made up about her relationship. And the only weird rumors around this time were marriage rumors. In the music video for Lavender Haze, Taylor's fans have noticed that Taylor looks sad when she's alone with her partner, but they act in love when people and cameras are around. The house where they live together also ends up being a fake movie set. Now, like I said earlier, Taylor lives for the details and secret meanings behind everything she does. So while some of you may think this is reading too much into it, which reading lyrics and looking at a music video is a very surface level amount of digging, but I digress. Taylor puts in specific details for a reason, so that's a bit interesting. Fans have also compiled a list of times Joe talks about Taylor in interviews, and he talks about her in such a dull way, and they hide this under the pretense that he wants to be private. In October 2018, Joe told British Vogue, "I think we have been successfully very private, and that has now sunk in for people, but I really prefer to talk about work." In November 2018, when asked about Taylor, Joe says, "Someone's private life is, by definition, private. No one is obliged to share their personal life." December 2018, he says, "I think there's a very clear line as to what somebody should share or feel like they have to share, and what they don't want to and shouldn't have to." When Taylor broke her silence on politics, Joe finally showed that he had some emotion in him and said, "I think it's great. I think it's important." Whoa, don't show too much excitement now. Last one before I bore all of us to death. More on this topic of normalness and privacy, which seems to be the only thing he talks about, he says, "I don't think anyone you meet on the streets would just spill their guts out to you. Therefore, why should I? Then that is defined as being strangely private. Fine, but I don't think it is. I think it's normal." I agree that it's normal to be private and not want to share anything online, but I also think when you're a so-called actor, you can't huff and puff every time someone asks you about your relationship. Especially because relationships are a part of who you are no matter what, so by opening up about them or giving us more than, "Don't like to share, thanks," it's not like you're taking away from yourself or from your work. Taylor and Joe's reps tried to make this narrative flow together nicely by constantly saying, "Joe was very shy, and he never liked all of the attention." Joe is supposedly an actor, and if you can do your job with 90 people staring at you and a big camera in your face, then you could be out in public without panicking. It's not like Joe was some random worker in a bakery and Taylor said, "Yeah, this can be my life. I love bread." I have never heard this man talk or heard of any of his movies, and yet I'm supposed to believe that Taylor didn't grow him in her backyard to fill up a lover position in her life? Or who knows, maybe Joe has that kicker personality behind closed doors, but how are we supposed to know anything when his vibe is just the moody British guy dating Taylor Swift? Maybe that's why I have a hard time seeing Taylor and Joe and thinking, wow, they are passionately in love. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? On top of all of this weird breakup drama that her fans are still confused about, we get rumors of Taylor dating Matty Healy from the 1975, who is such a prick it's actually crazy that this is someone she's possibly into. Trust me when I say there will be a video about this. In the meantime, I'd like to leave this Matty Healy conversation with a Swiftie responding back to someone saying, "I'm sorry, but Joe Alwyn would never do this," in regards to Matty dancing and singing along to Taylor. And this person said, "Joe Alwyn also isn't a racist, Islamophobe, ableist, Nazi, pedophile, and whatnot. So yeah, he would never do what Matty Healy does. And Joe Alwyn takes showers too and brushes his teeth." Once you see how problematic Matty Healy is, you too will laugh. He's literally so weird. Wait up for the video on those two coming soon, and yes, I am making the video about Selena and Taylor. Thank you so much for waiting patiently for that one. Anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think Joe and Taylor will come back together once more? Will Joe defeat the great evil Matty? Or are they just filling in spots till they find their real soulmates? If you're a Swiftie, we'd love to hear more about what you guys think. Make sure to like and subscribe, follow us on our social media for more. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.